The idea to do Stephen Sondheim's Follies came from Julia Mackenzie. She said to me one day, you know, it would be wonderful if one day you did Follies.
You'll never see him happier than when he's got a new project on the go.
Follies was, you know, one of the most celebrated flops. A fabulous show, but a flop. What kept Follies alive is the genius of Stephen's music and lyrics. That was the backbone of it. There I was, now with my third mega hit, had opened. At this point, I could afford to do Follies.
He wanted to do a new version of it, that's a version, not Hal's version, but, you know, a whole other way of looking at it.
It gave him an opportunity to work really closely with Stephen Sondheim. It gave him the opportunity to work with James Goldman to rework what was already a complicated piece.
The original was so bleak at the end, you wonder why they possibly would stay with each other at that point.
There were things in it that Cameron didn't like or didn't think worked.
So we all then got together and discussed what should get changed.
So it was, in a sense, a new piece, but not a vastly new piece.
Steve is a working writer. He will always do something if he feels there's a good reason to do it.
The show has to keep changing when you're trying it out, when you're trying to make it work. You are constantly changing things so that the communication with the audience gets smoother and smoother, and that the audience understands what you're doing because everything is out front. You know, the audience isn't entirely a passive listener in a musical as they are with a play, because somebody comes out and sings at you and wants applause. So there has to be a message from the audience.
The way that he'd extended what the younger couples do,
Girls, Ben, Sally,
I think intellectually worked better. We were never quite able to stage it as surreally as we wanted because of the depth of that theatre.
In the middle of a very difficult technical rehearsal, and Maria Bjornsson, the genius who did Phantom of the Opera, had designed this set, and it was beautiful, but it could do so many tricks that we just didn't have the space to do. Cameron said, "What's behind the back wall of the theatre?" And I looked at him. I said, "Why?" And he said, "In case we wanted to knock through." And I went, "Well, it's Grape Street." And he went, "And what's on the other side of Grape Street?" So I said, "I don't know, it's a building." He said, "Go and find out who owns it." So I went and knocked on the door, and it was quite heavily locked, and there were cameras, everything. And I came back and said, about 10 minutes later, I said, "Cameron, I've been, unfortunately, it's the Cuban embassy, and they're not that interested in selling to a theatre producer."
I just enjoyed seeing a whole new production, and it was very, very grand.
It was all drapes and like the back of a theatre that was closing down. And he said, "Oh, really, this is wonderful, isn't it?" And I remember, I think it was Adele Lee, said, "Well, I think it'll be lovely when it's finished." Well, of course, what happens during the show is it opens up into various wonderful, stunning spectacles.
The technical rehearsals at Follies were a nightmare because the set was too big.
Sometimes we had to have porter cabins at the top of the building to house the dancers.
Come the first preview, I'll never forget it. I mean, I'm not ashamed. I cried. It was just true hysteria. People, you know, they'd waited for years to see this show.
To put on a production like Follies, which was so huge and so brilliant, and on paper couldn't have worked. The theatre, entirely wrong for the set they built. The cast list, unbelievable.
You know, he had a wonderful way of managing that extraordinary cast, you know, with Diana Rigg and Julia Mackenzie and Dan Massey and David Healy.
I would never have done it if Julia hadn't wanted to do it, and that's one of the reasons she wanted to do it. She knew she was perfect for Sally.
I've sung Losing My Mind many, many times, but it wasn't that song. It was In Buddy's Eyes. Buddy's eyes, I'm young, I'm beautiful, in a buddy's arms. I couldn't sit in the theatre every night while somebody else was singing In Buddy's Eyes. I just couldn't do that. The best I ever thought of me is every minute there to
It came out of a conversation between her and me about it was Diana Rigg. Daniel is one of our leading actors and played Noel Coward in the film Star opposite Julie Andrews. I went for Dolores knowing that she hadn't played London since she starred in the original Annie Get Your Gun.
I've stood in bread lines with the best. Watched while the headlines did the rest. In the Depression, was I depressed? Nowhere near. I met a big financier, and I'm here.
The great thing about Cameron is nothing is concealed. Everything is right there. So it makes him a joy to work with. But what I primarily remember is I don't think I've ever met anybody who loves musicals the way this man does.
But he wanted Julia to come back for the last night because it was thanks to Julia that actually Follies had come together.
I suddenly got the call to say, I want you to play Sally on the last night. I bet you couldn't make me cry now. Well, as I say, Cameron gets what Cameron wants, and quite right. What he wanted was that I should be back. This is too much. That I should be back in the last night playing Sally, which I wanted too, but we didn't speak of it.
We didn't announce to everybody that on her last night should be on, but we did at that normal moment just before the curtain goes up when we say who are the understudies on for the principals. And at that point, we did say that the role of Sally was going to be played by Julie Mackenzie.
When it got a rather nice reception, it was one of the nicest pats on the back I've ever had.
Oh, God, the audience went crazy.